Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, I wanted to do an update on a couple of new things around the lab, new workflows around the roaster, new workflows at the brewing station, new workflows at the green station, just a lot of things that I thought that have been continually updated. I thought I would put it all in this video. As I was trying to be, in the last couple of months, roasting and brewing and doing a lot of experimentation to get better, I found that workflow, weird systems would get in the way of me actually focusing on creating the best coffee I could, or roasting the best coffee I could, or brewing the best coffee I could. So I would find myself like trying to take notes, and I'm like, and I'd be bent over like this trying to take notes, or I'd be taking notes over here, taking notes over here. So like the system of taking notes was all wonky. And so like things like that, like really little things like that would get in the way, I think really needed to update. So I was very conscious in the last couple of weeks to sort of like, okay, hey, how do I really want to do this? Like, what's my way? What's my system? Like, let's try to repeat that, right? Let's try to be consistent with that, because I don't want to have to worry about how I take notes because it was really bothering me. I'm like, dude, taking notes is so hard. So I would find that with like bagging coffee, brewing coffee, getting green, carrying green out to the roaster. So like every little piece, and I know it's going to sound a little overwhelming, but that's why I'm making this video, so that maybe you can pick one thing out of here that you can go, hey, let me like be conscious about how I carry green to the roaster, if that's an issue, and try to like make that system better, which I still haven't made that system better. It's still annoying to me. The only way to fix that is to put the green right next to the roaster. All right, let's get into this video. Okay, so in no particular order, let's start here at bagging. Let's just start where you guys may have seen this before, but this is basically how I open bags right now. I will now have to clean it since I touched it, but I try to keep this as clean as possible because this is what's going into the bag. I'll open the bag like this, place it over. It opens this square pouch, enough, and I do that. Simple, right? I now use these 5-pound bags, not for green, but for roasted coffee. So I'll be at the roaster, and you guys seen, I used to use these guys right here. They're so bulky, right? They take up a lot of space. I don't have a lot of space anywhere. Like, I'm really trying to maximize every little bit, like when you don't have like a warehouse or anything like that, you really have to be kind of wise about where you put everything, and if you're not organized like I am, I'm not organized. I really try to be, but it all ends up everywhere. Like, I just started shooting this video and I would not want to show it to anybody, but like, so these are super bulky. They're very useful though, because you could still see stuff, and that's very nice. But now, I've always had these bags. These are 5-pound one-way valve bags. I'm not gonna seal them. I'll probably clip them, but they just, at the roaster, they take up much less real estate, much less space, and I can carry them very easily. I can one-hand this little guy. I can even one-hand 3 of them and walk from the roaster back to the lab, no problem. So it just saves me a lot of space. And those were just so big. It was nice, but look how much space I can save. And I could be very kind of like, I mean, I'm just gentle, but like, I don't have to be so precious with it because it's in a bag. Also, because it's craft, I can make a very small note on here and say this is Brazil, right? And I put the date and everything, and I can kind of semi-close it. I can clip it. I'm gonna bag these immediately, like right after, so it's not a big deal to have them sealed up. I eliminate that weird table thing that I had next to the roaster that was just held together by C-clamps, and I could just save a lot more space and take up a lot less space. So that was the biggest thing, I think, in terms of workflow. I was taking up a lot of space, and I really wanted to minimize that. And I made that switch from here, see? I was using this, and this was really annoying. I would write with a dry eraser here, and then would rub off every time I handle this bag, and that was really, really annoying. And then eventually, if I did roast more than 2 batches, like say if I roasted more than, one batch is 1,000 grams from my machine, so if I did 2 batches of the same, I'd run out of space here. Whereas if I use my 5-pound bag, I can easily get in, you know, a couple of batches in there for sure. So here is the new brewing station. Took me a while to find a groove here. It took a long time. It really frustrated me. You guys seen that I had like everything over here for a minute. I had the grinder over here. It was annoying. Anyway, this is the iteration that seems to be working. I've been doing many brews here and logging them here in my brew log. I have my computer. I can still record and create content. That looks good. So I was really trying to check off a lot of boxes for myself as a content creator because, you know, I'm trying to just step in, do the thing I need to do, and step out. I think that's the best way that you can think about, like, how do I create a system for myself? It's like, how do I step in, do what I need to do, and step out, right? So I don't need to set it up every single time. I don't need to take it down every single time. That just wastes time. You know, if you're doing this task over and over again, you want to take all that stuff out. Anyway, let me show you what's in here a little closer. You know, I converted my desk. It was sitting, and I told you guys I was going to raise it to be standing height. I was just like, how am I going to do that? And I really felt I was spending a lot of money, and I slowly started to feel bad. Like, I'm just buying. Why don't I try to chop stuff up, you know, DIY some stuff? So I did. 5 hours later, finally came up with this idea. So I found this thing that my sister gave me, you know. So I made this, all right. And then I found little bits and parts and pieces that I could do stuff. And I always seem to need towels. I got the darker ones because I don't want to see all of that filth and coffee gunk for sure. So I got 3 towels hanging here. I thought it might be an issue for me to, like, if I were to jam into it, but it's not, it's fine. I've got the roast log here open, encouraging me to take notes. I have an issue taking notes. I like to take notes, and then I will get lazy about it because, oh, I gotta take it out and put it back. So like I was saying, I was like, I just want to be able to see it, and it's got to be pretty too. So I couldn't just have a piece of paper. It couldn't just be a notebook that just looks like whatever. You know, it had to be aesthetically pleasing for me to motivate me to do the darn thing, right? So I had to do that. Getting a little closer here, I didn't mind spending $30 on a notebook, right? And this is, you know, you cannot reuse this. Once you write in there, it's done. Unless you want it to look super ugly. And I'm just getting started in here, but I really like this setup. So there's a couple of things, we'll get into this maybe in another video, how I'm using this brew logbook. But that's definitely, it had to look pretty because I knew I was gonna leave it out to encourage me to take better notes. I now have the trash can hidden from view, so if ever I show off my workstation, it's pretty hidden. So trash cans down there available for me. Before I would use 1 trash can for the whole room. Now I actually have 2 trash cans for this room because there's different sections to this room, even though it's only a 10 by 10 room. Okay, so we have computer here to see, you know, roast paths and things like that. Let me give you a better angle here. Now I have everything on a brew tray, which I hooked it up with a little leather accent right here and handle. So I got everything here that I typically will use for brewing and record into my brew log. I have extra space here for extra crap because that's what happens. I get extra crap over there. Now I have the grinder at eye level, or, you know, standing height for me, so I could see it exactly, and everything's here. Everything's nice and tight. Before it'd be like, oh, I gotta go over here a little bit, and even though it was just a little bit, it would make a difference. It would mess up the flow. It would mess up the system, and I'd be like, oh, I feel weird. Okay, whatever. So I've got stored coffee here if I have any. I typically will have some decaf in here for me. This is typically all personal use, right? So for morning coffees. Everything I've done here has been really intentional, like how I personally operate when brewing. So even the placement of this scale. So I put the fancy scale over here because that's where I'm doing most of the brewing and stuff. And then this will go here for storage. So I've tried to be really, really conscious about how I actually do things. So when you're laying this out for yourself and your brew method, just break down your own steps, how you do it. Another new thing that I've been doing here at brewing is, now that I was dealing with the ode, right? Can you see here? Static, very, very messy. I still haven't found a really good way to deal with the static when I'm doing cuppings, and all that static falls down and it collects right there, and I don't like that. But so we'll have to figure that out. But anyway, when I'm brewing normal coffee, just normal pour over or AeroPress, I have a little eyedropper here. I know a subscriber or a commenter or whatever said, hey, you can just spray. Well, I didn't have one. This is what I had in the house, and I thought, hey, this is from my old chemistry set. I cleaned it first. I keep it right here. It's low profile, it's black, it's glass, good. And then I have this here, which I probably could use something more aesthetically pleasing, like make it black like everything else, but it's fine for now. But I like it because it's light. So I'll dose in my coffee. This is a little jewelry scale that I would use at the espresso machine, but I barely drink espresso these days, maybe when it gets colder. So put 1 drop, bing. This Doolittle shaky that I've seen a lot of people do online and on YouTube, so I've copied that. And then hopefully dislodging all the static with that little drop of water and this thing. I put this here, and before I would keep this off, but I think it's nice, it kind of helps if there's any beans that could be jettisoned from the hopper here, and I just keep that. So I'll pour that in, boop, really easy, grind away, and then by the time I'm actually brewing, and if it is, most of the time it's AeroPress, this will be out of the way for me to knock. If I'm not doing it, then it becomes an issue. I have to move it, and I can do that pretty easily. So see, I'm even thinking about that, oh, this is in my way, right? I have to, and that's why it's in that order. So little things like that. Okay, so I would think about that consciously. Filters here, waters here. New thing, okay? Let me show you this. I got this really handy shelf, a pine shelf from my sister, which was supposed to be a shoe rack. It's a shoe rack, and I now use it as this because I had to have something now for, ouch, my pinky. I cut off my pinky nail. Third wave water. I don't know why I dated it. It doesn't matter. Third wave water. So this is half a gallon. I fill it with half of these packets. When I run out, or when I get close to running out, I'll start researching my own mix and all that stuff. Because these packs alone, I believe they're $14. $14 for this. I mean, it's gonna last pretty long, I guess, but that just seems a lot to me. So that was nice that this is a gift. Extra glassware and extra cups right here. Got the books, extra t-shirts, whatever. I'll usually store a cupping tray here. It's being used right now. Plant. Back here we have more towels, dosing, just extra stuff that you need to be on hand for. This is a hot mess up here. I'm not going to show you that because yeah, it's messy and I haven't figured it out. That so far has been an update to a lot of the little things that have been bothering me. As I'm making the video, I kind of have this self-doubt, is this really worth making a video about? But I think it is, because to me it made the world of difference to me, and so maybe it can make, when you get into your workflow or workstation or your roasting or whatever it is, it'll make a world of difference to you because that's your world, so I'm just encouraging you to go into your world and be like, cool, how can I make this system the best it can be? And I know I'm going to change this eventually. There's something that will most likely change, but for now it's working, and I waste less time going I don't like how I'm doing this system, and I'll think about that, and it'll take up space in my mind, and then I'll be like, I must fix it. I'm not being present on whatever I need to focus on. Does that make sense? So I'm always curious about The workstation, I don't really get too like frustrated with it. I actually find it exciting because I know even though I have to like upturn the whole room again, it's not like that stress or that like act of doing that of like, oh, I must redo it. It could seem overwhelming, could seem really stressful, but I know it's gonna be better. It's all for a reason. It's all to make my workflow better so I can focus on making the best coffee. I can focus on roasting the best coffee. I can focus on, you know, bagging really nice coffee orders and stuff like that, and really make sure what I'm selling to you guys is the best that it could be, right? So that's all really important. So when I have that big picture in mind, I don't mind like changing stuff up or taking the time or like DIYing something and maybe it doesn't work and I have to really problem solve and be creative to work with what I have, right? I don't have all the money in the world and I don't have all the time in the world. So that's why systems, workflow, finding something that works is really, really important. It's back to work for me. I hope that was helpful and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.